5 to 8 armed gunmen that just storming the Radisson Blu Hotel. As soon as I cracked that door, there was bodies, throughout. I was overwhelmed, to be honest. Like my actions didn't match that, but inside of my head, I was like, this is a lot. I don't have my troop or squadron like to just dominate this structure.
A lot of people think that these special mission units do like real world hostage rescue all the time, but it's very rare that you actually get to do the thing that you train your whole life to do, and you got to be part of that
that's the no-fail mission. That's what we spend 80% of the time training on,
just to prepare for that that moment in
that's
case.
the no-fail.
Yeah.
And being in the right place at the right time and having the confidence that I was the right person. I was by myself. I in that country by myself. So I wasn't doing any sneaky this or that. Like I was there in a suit and tie, working as a part of an advisor to the U.S. country team there at the embassy in Bamako, Mali, during a deployment. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be going after ISIS as a part of another thing. And, someone else didn't feel like they could do that type of thing of interacting with, the higher level country team folks, ambassadors and whatnot. And having a special forces background, and being a social person and extrovert, I was kind of a unicorn there.
Yeah.
But that I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do that mission. I was like, what is the mission? Well, maintain relationships, because we need to hand this over to our Navy counterpart so we can go. We need every single one of us to go dismantle the caliphate that's starting, or that's trying to start with ISIS. And so I was a bit, I was butthurt,
Yeah.
I got over there and it's all cocktail hours and Vespers and a lot of drinking.
That's State Department life, right?
Yeah. And I was like, well, I like to party. So I was lost, man. And that moment, when I did get that call, I had been in country for 3 weeks, man. And still trying to figure which way is this and that. But the training, all the training I've had, the preparation, I knew exactly where all of my kit was. And I oriented, decided, and acted, right? Like I heard the sounds of gunfire. I got a phone call, then I moved to the sounds of gunfire.
Before you get into it, can you paint a picture of what actually took place to initiate the call? Like what?
Yeah, so it was about 7:15 in the morning, and I got the call from someone from the State Department about an ongoing attack that just kicked off. There's 5 to 8 armed gunmen that just storming the Radisson Blu Hotel from embassy vehicles. Actually, they said 5 to 8 armed gunmen just launched an attack getting out of embassy vehicles. Like they would drive and pick up the TDY people from all the embassies, not just American,
Right.
In the morning after breakfast, and then take them to their embassies. Right. So, explosions, so that was the call I got. So I was like, ooh, that's not a fair fight. But there was 2 MARSOC guys in the country that I had, my positions past had built a relationship with them anyways.
Yeah.
So first call is to them. And then the State Department regional security officers, they're the ones in charge of saying, hey, this is safe zones and, the safety of the embassy itself.
For those that don't know, the RSO is essentially the U.S.'s head security for that country.
Yeah.
That's our representative.
Yeah. So they're actually in charge of the, what's the Marine detail that
It's MSG, Marine Security
Marine Security
Guard
Guards,
detail
that's
for
right.
the embassies.
But they're the Marine Security Guard. They're there for the protection of the embassy, and so the RSO has to go out and like, hey, is this safe to travel? Is this not, for not just State Department employees, like American citizens? So it's a lot of responsibility. But they have they had stayed in that hotel. They had, been in that hotel. It wasn't far. It was only, 3/4 of a mile from my house, and I was living in a house that was designed for a team of people. And I was the TL of one, because we weren't getting the if you don't understand where Bamako, Mali is, it's in the Trans-Sahel in Africa, in North Africa. And it's been a breeding ground for Al-Qaeda, AQIM, to rebuild, and through the all the different old like smuggling routes and everything. It's desert, and so we've been trying to go after them for a long time, but we weren't getting the support we needed. But we would support the French, and their kinetic mission there. So ultimately, though. It wasn't far from the hotel, but that was the information I got on the first call, though. So I called the Marstock guys, and then the RSO called me, and then we linked up in front of my house. And I shared a lot of this story on the Sean Ryan interview. But yeah, man, it's like I was in the right place at the right time, and I had all of this training, and I had all these other operations that I'd been on, and dealt with evil, and so I was in the right place, and and assembling a team. So leadership,
This
right?
guy asked, like putting together a team, logistics,
Ad
like
hoc,
something
just on
happens
the
like
fly.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, where
having
you get
never done CQB
ammo
together, maybe we went to the range like once. I was like, hey, you guys want to go to the range or something? We'd been there for 3 weeks. I had been there for 3 weeks. So, on me, like, so let's go. And they trusted me to lead. And to the point where even the chief of mission at the time was like, hey, let the Malian security forces deal with it, as we're about to make entry. And I had to basically encourage him by saying, hey, I'm going to lead. So-and-so knows exactly where the room is, because we had gotten a call of a guy that was an American in a room on fire, hiding underneath the table. They just shot up. So imminent loss of life, and just the confidence, that the empowerment, right? So the empowerment that the unit gives to its men and women, right? Mm-hmm. It's the definition of a professional organization. So anywhere we go, we feel empowered, because we are empowered to make decisions in a crisis, or just strategic level decision making. And people see that, and your actions match it, right? So it was extremely cohesive, man, how we were able to just kind of make that happen and go.
So it's three of you.
It was five of us.
5 of us.
So 2 Marstock guys and 2 RSOs. They were ARSOs, so assistants.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they would have been DSS agents.
Yeah. I think one was acting because the actual RSO was on vacation or something, but yeah.
And so you guys, American imminent
loss of life,
and you guys make the decision to go in.
Yep.
What was that like? What were you? I mean,
so
for you, like, what's going through your mind? Like,
well, when I was getting my stuff ready and moving that way, I was real like, let's go,
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. I'm like, that's why I'm here. I figured it out. And, but being honest, looking back, like as we assembled the team, I just felt super exposed as soon as I cracked that door. I didn't go through the front doors, because you could clearly see they shot up through the front doors and just broken glass, and there was bodies throughout, and so I chose like a side door, and I popped into that thing, and it was just like overwhelming. Think of like a banquet room, or not like a large auditorium, but kind of like one of those separate conference rooms or whatever, but just really dark, smoky. Fire alarms are going off. Eerily silent though, because the last explosions and shots I heard was right before I made entry. So it was extremely, eerie. That's why I put my nods on, and I was the only person that had all of my things, as far as kit, and that was I was overwhelmed, to be honest. Like my actions didn't match that, but inside of my head, I was like, this is a lot. This is a
Yeah.
lot. I don't have my troop or squadron like to just dominate this structure. And it's a 7-story. If you think about like these two kind of spiral staircases, this kind of atrium that has like I guess the embassy suites would be like how most of those are set up, where it's exposed in the middle. So when I made it out into that move, we had to get to the second floor to get to basically the breakfast area, because they chased everyone in and then set that on fire. That's where the American was trapped in that room. And the RSO knew it was on the second floor, but the only way to get to it was to basically bound up this spiral glass staircase, super exposed. And I just went straight to my Army training. I'm like, hey man, 10 to 2, hey, 10 to 2. Yeah. You cover this, you cover that. I'm making a move. I'll let you know when I'm set. And then we just bounded up, kicked the doors in on that. I could see the smoke from underneath the doors, but I kicked them in, and you couldn't see a foot in front of your face. It was so thick. I didn't feel like the heat yet, but I just went running in, and because I had never done fire rescue training, and ran in and stopped, drop, and roll. No, I inherently just got really low to the ground because I want to breathe, and there's maybe some air down there.
Yeah, you don't need training to do that, right?
Yeah, you don't need, that's like a self-correcting problem. But, but I tell you what though, like I went in there and I almost went too far because I couldn't see the door I came in on. I couldn't see where I was going. It was like I was in a cloud, and then a cloud that you can't breathe in, Yeah. So, I mean, I almost, I think if I went any further, I probably would have died. But I was able to turn around because I'm yelling that dude's name, trying to use my gun light to get him to come to me. So I turned around and went back and found the wall, and then went back to the door, and then said, hey, let's get him on the phone directly. Because he was talking through post 1, and then they were relaying that to us. And it was too slow. So we got him on the phone directly. And having done fire rescue training now, with what I think is the best at it, in FDNY rescue units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I learned, how to manipulate the fire to, eventually it's going to make it worse, but for a rescue, we essentially vented it in a way, and it lifted, and I was able to get a little further and get him out.
What state was he in when you got him out? He was
He was like hanging on by. He looked like he was just in such shock that, I mean, his eyes were just like red, like the whites in his eyes. He looked like he was just hanging on by the sheer will to survive.
Thank God you guys.
And there are some people that, I'd kick a door in because I was going for after. Either way, there's certain rooms I would go to specifically to look for Americans that were unaccounted for, and some of them would have everything barricaded in front of it. I'm like, hey, friendly, hey, I'm here. Let me in. And I was so proud of them for that, And then they'd come through and be like, hey, glad you're here. Let's go. And then some people, like grown men, I had to like carry and carry. And I say that because, one in particular, this is something they don't train you for. Like 2-3 days after I'm at the embassy, I didn't care, man. I was in like wearing whatever. I didn't have a suit on. I just had a t-shirt on. And, they were evacuating all these personnel over several days, and this man came up to me, and he's like, "Hey, man," and he was crying, and he's like, "Hey, can I get a hug from you?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And I didn't understand it, but he recognized the tattoo on my arm. It's pretty distinguishable, and because he was just looking down. And, I vaguely remembered him. There was a lot of people, but, this world needs protectors. Yeah. And, but we have to learn how to protect ourselves first, man. our mind, body, and our spirit, and then we can truly embrace, being the best protector we can.